Real life military. Today we're going to be talking about the end goal, like 20 years or your career, whatever you actually do in the military. A lot of people don't realize what happens when you leave the military for most people. It's you get that pension for like 3 grand a month, and most people think they can live on it, and they can't. They're in debt. You know, the whole saying 10,000, most divorce, zero assets, zero retirement, and most likely alcohol, depression, and caffeine problems. And everyone's striving to get that disability, the 100% disability. That's like winning. So most of us will move 4 to 6 times in our career, the 20 years. That's hard. It's hard to have anything stable. It's hard to get anything going. It's hard for families. It's hard for your significant other to have a job. All these things are stressors that we have in our career. We get pushed to finish a degree, which isn't bad, but we won't have any experience. The big thing while you're in is to find out what you're doing with your time. Where is your time going? It's going somewhere. You can't be everywhere at the same time. Your 100% can't be towards the job, the family, the kids, whatever you spend your time. So where do you spend it? Is it family? Is it kids? Is it women? Is it partying? Is it video games? Is it work? You have to decide where your time's going to go and find out where it's actually going, because you'll be surprised how much time you will spend on things. So you have a decision what's important to you. And that's the hard part, because what's important to you will change after 20 years. Will you regret not working harder? Will you regret not making more money? Will you regret not spending more time with your family? And when will you figure out what that end goal actually is? And from when you first join to when you end, and when you find out what your goal is, at that time you could already have a whole family. You could have 2 kids. You could be married. You could already have all that debt. You could have zero assets, and you could have all this going on. And you just realize, you just get this knowledge, and that's when it's hard. It's super hard. That's how I had it. I was already married, and I had 1 kid at that time. And I was just like, wow, I've wasted so much time. And most of us do waste 2, 3, 5, 7, 8 years. But the military is good at pushing you into roles. The culture is not the best. What comes to mind for me are something that we have to do all the time. It's called the CDB, Career Development Board. And I hated them. They were just bullshit. You had to put like short term goals, long term goals. But when I actually applied it to real life, I did more find my bad habits. And every year I worked on one big major one, and I've pushed a lot of them out, and it's good. So I would like drop a bad habit and pick up a good habit. And you do that 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you will find a huge change in your life, and those things will start coming up. And that's actually really good. And this has worked the best for me. Your money should always be on your mind at all times. You first have to find out where it's going, because if you don't know, then you will be surprised. Truthfully, you will be surprised. And if you're like me, all of your money will already be in places, and you can't push them somewhere else. So, what I personally had to do, and what I know a lot of other people that have taught me how to do this, was same thing: full family, um, a kid, a wife, and no extra money. At least that's what I thought, no extra money. But I started taking things away from me. So, like video games, take that away, pick up a second job. Alcohol, I was chewing tobacco, stopped that, stopped alcohol. Um, I took, and that's quite a bit. Like I think it was like hundreds of dollars a month that I could apply somewhere else. And for single people, it's easy. You would think it's easier, but then you have more time, and you waste a lot of time, and most won't figure it out while they're single. They are already having too much fun. So they say, money doesn't create happiness, but it's a great down payment, because it truthfully is. Once you have some stability and you start getting some actual money and you're not in debt and you start gaining assets, like, you will feel 100% better. And it's just compounding. Like, it'll work on itself. You'll find other ways to create more money, and the people around you will create more money. Like, for example, my wife, for 3 years straight, I was making an extra $10,000 a year, and that's awesome. It's not a lot. I mean, it's relative to you. People have done way more. I know people that have done 50,000 a year, crazy, and people that have done less, even just $100, just 1,200 bucks a year, and it's all up to you, whatever you can do. But um, I think the third year, my wife picked up a side gig and she started making $1,000 a month also. So then that just doubled. So it went from 10,000 a year to 20,000 a year, and that's awesome. So it's just like they say, like, the people that are closest to you, you will be more like them. But so you can aspire other people around you to start breaking those bad habits and creating good ones. So it's all about knowing, like, the knowledge of where to spend this money, where to spend this time, and how you get it all together, and what plan and goals you actually have. Because most people don't have any. They're just, I'm here, I'm showing up. I don't know where my money's going. I don't know what my future's going to be. Oh, I'm going to get out. And then you find yourself 18 years later. Like, I love to tell the story about the guy that was 19 years in. We were in a seminar, and he was flexing that he had his retirement since he got in, and it was only like $20,000 because he never did anything with it. And that's most people. But at least he had the $20,000. Like, most people don't even have that. So find other people that you can learn from. Like, the ego for people in the military, it's crazy. Like, everybody, most people, the majority of people are flexing shit they don't have. And it's it's wild. And at the end of the day, after those 20 years, it'll be you, because you could be that same person, has to get back on a government contract, get between that barbed wire fence again, and start working. You'll be working right with the young military guys, being like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was your age. I wasted all my time. I wasted all my money, and now I'm doing this." Just hating your life, probably divorced, fat, and just hating it. It's still grinding, still grinding. So, ego will kill you. Ego will kill you. So, the 20-year plan. It's not even a 20-year plan. Just come up with some plan. Come up with a plan for this year. Change one thing. Cut out one bad thing. Change one thing. 100 bucks a month. Like, simple. Find goals. Find goals. Put them into practice, and just slowly. It at at the beginning, it won't feel like much. It really won't. But, like, trust me, years later, it'll actually become something.